top 10 most impressive rookie seasons in 2020. Who do you got?
Okay, so we're starting positive, and that means we're going to finish on a low note. But you know what? We typically do, so that's fine. Number one, I think I got to go with the offensive rookie of the year. I'm going to go Justin Herbert. Number one, most impressive. None of you and I certainly did not see this coming. So to be a quarterback who we thought was going to be a bust, turn into the offensive rookie of the year and look like a potential superstar, this is an easy first overall pick for me.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, he was just incredible this season. He looks like the real deal because that arm strength combined with, the intangibles he's now seemingly developed out of college. I think he's the real deal. And, would 30 teams trade for him right now, straight up for their quarterback? Yes, no doubt about it. I think everybody except for probably Aaron Rodgers and Mahomes, every team would trade for Justin Herbert right now. He's that good. So yeah, I think he's the real deal, and he's going to be a long-time Pro Bowler, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not quite sure for one thing, I think your math is off a little bit because if 30 teams would trade, that means that only one team wouldn't.
29 teams. My bad.
Yes. Yeah. I think there's maybe a couple other, but no, he's incredible. His potential is fantastic. And again, two guys who I probably would have said would be like the Texans and the Seahawks, but apparently they need quarterbacks now. So yeah, makes sense.
Yeah,
he's good. All right. I mean,
he's very good. Number two.
Yes.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
I'll transition right into number two, who I thought might be, maybe has a real argument here for pound, just the best football player from this draft class after 1 year. Tristan Wirfs. I thought he was awesome for the right tackle spot for the Buccaneers. He was just, the way he was able to protect Brady, do everything that was needed, and do it at an elite level early on with going against some real talented players throughout that schedule and in that division. He was able to make a real impact for that team, and Wirfs is going to be a longtime player for them.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's been a godsend at right tackle and to play as well as he did as a rookie. He totally exceeded my expectations. I had him as the third tackle of the draft. So for him to play like how he played, just truly incredible. And I mean, again, I don't know how much you take positional value into account. It is a tackle, but honestly, he was incredibly important for that playoff run.
Yeah. So we don't have to spend too much time on him. We can transition to your guy. But yeah, I just thought he was incredible this season and completely exceeded my expectations.
Yeah. All right. My guy, how about Joe Burrow? I'm going to stick up quarterbacks. I mean, Burrow kind of got a bit overshadowed by Herbert in some regard. He also didn't necessarily have the high stats, but, he had a bad offensive line and he did have weapons to throw to. But when we saw him have time in the pocket, he looked great. And for him to really hit the ground running, him and Herbert, it's so difficult to do that at the quarterback position. I have some other guys that I'm big fans of as well. But the reason why I went quarterbacks 1 and 2, Burrow was number 2 on my board, is just because it's so hard to do that at the quarterback position. And for them both to have success, truly incredible.
Yeah, I had him 10th on my list just because he missed 6 games. Now, if we were to say let's redraft the first round of the NFL draft, him and Herbert would go 1 and 2. And it'd probably be Herbert 1, him 2. He was so impressive with basically the bare bones of an offensive line. They basically had a top 5 guy decided as a requirement, and he was basically stuck behind nobody. No disrespect to the Bengals, but it wasn't good at all. And, they were playing with fire, playing him behind that offensive line with the chance of getting hurt. And unfortunately it did. But, up until then, he made that franchise respectable, which is almost saying a lot. So
that is saying a lot. No disrespect to the Bengals, but nobody respects them. So the fact that Joe Burrow was able to make them respectable, I think that does say a lot.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, he's going to be good. Hopefully he's back and healthy and ready to go because it was so fun to watch him and Herbert go back and forth week by week. I'll go into the next guy. I feel like this is fairly obvious. Justin Jefferson, easily the best receiver out of a deep receiving class draft. All those guys were debating about who's number 1. Should it be Ruggs, Judy, and Lamb? Well, it was Justin Jefferson. He was that good. He was incredibly talented and almost made the Diggs trade a win-win. So it was incredible to see that development so early on and just a tremendous deep threat for that team. So I'm going Jefferson here.
No, I don't think there's any almost. I think he did make that trade a win-win. I think that the Minnesota Vikings, knowing what they know now, absolutely still trade Diggs to get Jefferson and get other draft picks. Even though Diggs also, was great for Buffalo, of course. Yeah, no, he was incredible. He was number 4 on my board. He goes here at number 4. I think that for me, the top 4 were clearly in a class of their own. And like you said, I mean, the Eagles drafted Jalen Reagor over Jefferson. He wasn't even he wasn't even the 4th wide receiver drafted. So for him, and I also like how Minnesota did it, where it was a lot of sort of crossing routes over the middle early on, and then they kind of let him branch off on that and really become, you got to see him sort of grow into a true number 1 receiver, and they already have a number 1 receiver in Thielen. So this is a really good player. And again, maybe the only reason I have the 2 quarterbacks and really Wirfs ahead is because we have seen receivers have great rookie seasons before. It's still difficult though, and he did a great job.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they follow this up, and really where Minnesota's going forward. But he looks the part of a true number 1 receiver, and him and Thielen are a really fun combination.
Yeah. Okay. Number 5. I got a Patriots guy, Michael. Again, you might have to help me out here. Onwenu.
On Wenyu, I think.
On Wenyu. I mean, yeah, he was another great guy where we were all kind of saying, I said before the season, like, Marcus Cannon opting out, this could be a big deal. Apparently, they can just plug in anybody and have great success on the offensive line. So, getting a great offensive lineman late in the draft like they do, it's incredible.
Yeah, he was a monster. And, for a while, he was like PFF's highest graded offensive lineman or something ridiculous like that. And it's just like, I don't know how it happened, but hell, I'll take it. He's incredible. He's going to be a longtime player for the team, it seems like. And, he's probably the reason Joe Thuney is going to walk. They don't really need to sign Joe Thuney because they can bring back Cannon at tackle. They can have Isaiah Wynn at the other tackle. And it'll still run Andrews, Mason, and Onwenu in the interior offensive line, which is still, they might have had the best offensive line in the league last year, and it's still probably top 5 with that group there. So they're going to be just fine with him, and they can just plug him in and go.
Yeah, a lot of offensive linemen have gotten the nod here in this podcast. So we'll move on to number 6 now. Who do you have?
All right, this is the guy who I thought was the best rookie on the defensive side of the ball, but, they didn't give him the credit it was deserved. Antoine Winfield, I think he was dealing with some politics as far as the defensive rookie of the year. Just a gamer, he makes plays on the ball. He does everything you need him to do. He looks like a real deal at the safety spot, and I really liked his game.
Yes, how about this? 2 of the top 6 picks coming from Jason Light, who at one point drafted Roberto Agoyo in the 2nd round. Who would have thought? Incredible. Yeah, no, Winfield had a great season, and I do think that kind of the inconsistencies of the Bucs defense in the season kind of hurt him in a lot of ways, I do think. And also just Chase Young being the 2nd overall pick hurt him in terms of the defensive rookie of the year. But you could absolutely make an argument for him. And again, if we're talking sort of subverting expectations and who was better than what I expected them to be, again, I thought Winfield could be good. I didn't expect him to be like a great safety in his rookie season. So it was very impressive. And I'll even lead in. We can talk about these guys together. Number 7, I have Jeremy Chin, who's another guy for Carolina, both NFC South guys who were really good safeties last year.
Yeah, I had him and Chin back to back as well. We're on the money with this one. Yeah, I mean, listen, even I, as one of the biggest Antoine Winfield stands going into the draft, didn't expect this to happen his rookie year. I didn't expect him to be this talented right away and making major impact plays in the Super Bowl. But I thought he was a really talented player and kind of a ball hawk, and he proved to be that kind of guy. And Chin, he had the fantastic game where, 2 straight defensive touchdowns on back-to-back plays or something. And he just proved that he's going to be a longtime player in this league. He's talented. He's incredibly athletic at the back. I'm really excited to see him going forward.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so number 8, who do you got?
I got Chase Young here.
Me too.
Chase Young, I just, while I thought he wasn't as good as Chin and Winfield, I still thought he was incredibly impressive. By the end of, I thought what was most impressive about him is that, a lot of guys hit the rookie wall and kind of tail off. I thought he was playing his best football games 11 through 16. I thought the end of the season was where he was playing at his best, and it was impressive to see him develop into that role and really find his game going down towards the end of the year. And, he was a big impact on how that team won the division.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, again, I've had a little bit of frustration with the Chase Young stuff of people are acting like he's all of a sudden, I didn't think he deserved a Pro Bowl nod, stuff like that. But I think that he is still, his potential has been incredible. I think that he hasn't necessarily lived up to what I sort of hoped. But part of it, too, is like, we saw Nick Bosa the year before be like ridiculous for a rookie. So, it's not really fair for him. And I think that he's probably going to be a 15 sack guy at some point in his career. So the potential is there. He was really good. He kind of just, was good, which, he was really good, but like we kind of were hoping for him to be, I guess I was hoping for him to just like, get 16 sacks his rookie season or something crazy. Maybe at his height. Clearly, I think he was, it would have been impossible for him to live up to the expectations.
That's probably true. I also feel like he benefited from playing on that defensive line because that's a really hard defensive line to double team anybody.
Right.
And being able to play with that group, I feel like also helped him develop, which is probably a good thing, why he kind of started so slow. They're easing him into it. But playing with that group, I think, helped him by the end of the year.
Yeah. It also doesn't help that he was essentially a no-show in the postseason game.
Yeah, he was.
Mm-hmm. But, again, young player, showed a lot of flashes as well. Number 9, I'm going Jonathan Taylor here. I think that, again, I feel good about this placement, 9. He sort of had a bit of a slower start, but really picked it up towards the end of the season with that, 250-yard day, week 17. I believe put him in, third most rushing yards of the league, something like that. So, again, rookie running backs tend to have good seasons. We've seen good rookie running back seasons, but he seems to be a really good RB1 for Indianapolis for the next few years.
Yeah. I mean, he was third in the league in rushing somehow. He was really good for this team, though. I think him and Hines are a really fun combination, and I think he's going to be hugely important this next season with Wentz. I don't think they're going to be able to just drop back 40 times with Wentz. I think they need to establish the run game, and I think he's going to be a huge part of that. So I think he can have even a better sophomore year.
Yeah. All right, so number 10, I don't know how you feel. I have about 6 guys I could pick, but this is your pick. So who are you going to put to cap off the 10 most impressive rookie seasons of 2020?
There's a few honorable mention candidates here, but we've actually had all of my top 10 picked, which is somewhat interesting. We seem to be right on the money with this one. I'm actually going to go with number 10, the guy who had at 9 because Burrow I had at 10 because of the missed games, L'Jarius Sneed. Basically, I had no expectations from him, and he exceeded those expectations by a lot. He just created a ton of turnovers at the cornerback spot, and he looks like he's going to be a real player on that Chiefs defense. And, who knows what this defense would have looked like without him at that corner spot, because I feel like they really needed someone to step up with so many holes on that defense. And he was able to come up right away and get an interception in week 1. And I felt like he's going to be a huge part of that team going forward.
Yeah, I remember he had I believe it was him who had a great interception against Herbert in Herbert's first game. I had him as an honorable mention, not as he wasn't on the top 10. But yeah, incredible player, great rookie season, and kind of one of those surprise, really good rookie seasons that sometimes happen to come back.
Yeah, it could happen. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how he can develop. Yeah, I mean, I do feel like Kansas City is going to need him to be a real player going forward because of what their cap situation is going to look like. They can't play with a bunch of zeros on defense. So if he can keep this up, he's going to be a huge player for that team.
Yeah, I think especially with a couple of corners, Ward and Breeland, both contract expiring, that's a huge get for them. My honorable mentions, I had CeeDee Lamb. He was my 10 spot. So he was the only guy in my top 10 that didn't make the top 10 in this one. I also had T. Higgins, Brandon Ayuk, Antonio Gibson, and Chase Claypool. So a lot of receivers that just missed the cut here for me. Did you have any other honorable mentions?
I basically had all of those guys. James Robinson too was on the list.
Right. How did I forget
James
him?
Robinson,
he should have been on there.
He probably should have.
Yeah.
I had James Robinson and CeeDee Lamb on my list as 11 and 12. So I mean, Robinson probably should have made the list. Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it. Mm-hmm. But we're picking 10. It makes it really difficult in small margins.
Yeah, I think that if I had to do it again, Robinson would have been my 10th. So right around there. But yeah,